Okay, so we have a very, very special guest today here. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello. How you doing?
Good, good, good.
Good.
And you?
I'm good.
You're
Yeah.
good. That's
So,
wonderful.
good
Yes.
evening at
Good
your
evening
time zone,
and good
right?
morning to you, right?
Yes.
Yes.
It's
Okay.
8:19 a.m. in the
Okay,
morning
okay,
here.
okay. So that's completely different. So what
Mm-hmm.
time did you get up this morning?
Um, about 6:45.
Okay, okay. That's
Yeah.
pretty early.
I'm not completely getting over the jet lag
Oh, that's
from my
right. You were
trip in
here.
Japan.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Already 2 weeks ago, but
Yeah, but you're still struggling.
hmm
Okay. So, first of all, maybe the listeners are wondering who you are.
hmm
Okay. So, can you give
yes,
us a short introduction about yourself, please?
sure. Okay, so hello, listeners. My name is Yoshihiro Mochizuki, and on Twitter, and yes, I still call it Twitter, consider it my
I
small
do
act
too.
of protest
Yeah.
against
Okay.
against Elon Musk. But
Uh-huh.
anyway, so on Twitter, I go by Mochirinda. So it's a Japanese name. So even I'm not entirely sure if it's Mochirinda with a R or
Mm.
Mochirinda with an L. What, what
Okay.
what do you think? Which is better, Mochirinda or
You tell
Mochilinda?
me. I don't-
Well, maybe
Mhm.
Linda is a common female
True,
name,
true,
so
true.
maybe
Mochilinda it is
Mochilinda.
then, huh? Okay.
Okay.
Mm.
So I am a teaching professor of Japanese at the University of Michigan, and that's where I started teaching Japanese language. So this is my first job and only job so far. So I consider myself lucky. But
Mm.
anyway, now
Mhm.
I also teach Japanese translation and interpreting. So
Wow.
翻訳と通訳。
Mm.
そんな大層なもんじゃないんですけど。
いや、すごい、すごい、すごい。And
So
you're,
since, oh,
uh-huh,
go
go ahead,
ahead.
go ahead. You're
Okay.
originally from?
Oh, I'm originally from, I don't know.
Oh, you don't know,
But
okay.
I, I,
Uh-huh.
I always tell people that I'm from Tokyo. That's because my dad is from Tokyo and all my relatives, uncles, auntie, cousins live in Tokyo. And there's an area, many people are Mochizuki. So
Mm,
that's where my family is from.
mm.
But I didn't really grow up in Tokyo. I spent most of my youth and childhood in Kagoshima.
Oh.
So yeah, my older brother actually tell people that he's from Kagoshima.
Mhm.
But I don't know for myself, I don't really associate myself with Kagoshima. So that's where I'm sorry if someone is from Kagoshima is listening to this episode. Um, Kagoshima is where I grew up
Mm.
or I spent most of my childhood and not my hometown.
Okay.
So,
That's very
well,
interesting.
largely because
Mm.
neither of my parents are from Kagoshima. My
Mm.
father is from Tokyo and my mother is from Kagawa, and both of them live in Kagoshima and work
Mm.
there, and they met at the English class. That's what I heard.
Oh,
Yeah. So
that's
they met
nice.
in an English class.
Mm.
Then they fell in love with each other and they got
Mm.
married.
That's so sweet. They were both students back then?
Um, no, I don't know why they were studying English. Well, my mom is a high school teacher,
Mm.
the Japanese 国語の先生. And my dad is a marine biologist, so that's why
Oh,
he
wow.
he has to live in the south where
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's true. Mm.
warm water is around.
Mhm. Mm.
So and yeah, he used to go abroad for his job, so maybe
Mm.
that's why he needed to study English. So
Mm.
that's
How
how they met.
romantic. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And so, since you teach English and I teach Japanese, so
Mm.
I'm sure we'll have a lot to discuss about the challenges and rewards of language
If that's what
education.
you're talking, well, what you want to talk about for sure, yeah.
Well,
I mean, like
actually,
yours sounds
not
much more
really.
professional than I am. So,
No, this is the introduction, formal introduction I prepared so we
Oh, okay,
can
okay.
talk about anything.
I did not
So,
plan anything. I was just gonna wing it today. That's what I was thinking. But that's very
mm,
true. So back in so you've been living you have lived in the States for how long now?
oh no.
You don't want to tell me.
No, I can. It's just people can tell that I'm old.
Nah, show your age.
Uh,
You can kind of.
So it's more than 20 years
Okay,
because
okay.
I came here a couple months after 9/11. So
Mm,
end of
mm, mm-hmm,
2001.
mm.
So like
Now
beginning of
people are
2002.
calculating in their heads.
So after I graduated from college in
Mm,
Japan, I actually moved to France. I
mm,
wanted to live in France,
mm,
but it didn't work out
mm,
largely because my French
mm.
sucked.
But you speak French too, then, huh?
Um, I was able to, not
Mm,
anymore. Well, I
mm.
don't know. I can hold the minimum conversation.
Minimum
Yeah,
conversation.
minimal conversation.
Okay. Uh-huh. Interesting.
Then my life in France didn't
Mm,
work out,
mm,
so I decided to attend a graduate school
mm,
in the United States. So that's how
mm.
I moved to the United States
Wow.
after France.
Wow. I think I have so many questions and I don't
Hmm
really know where to start. But so you teach Japanese
hmm
to the students who
American
are
students,
American
yeah,
students. So
college students.
uh, how do you like it? Do you like it?
Yeah, I like it.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, because this is kind of personal thing, but
Mm-hmm.
I used to travel a lot when I was younger, when I was a college student. And of course, I communicate with people in English. Then I always thought, I always envy English native speakers
Mm.
because, they can communicate with pretty much everyone. Well,
Yeah.
maybe everyone is not.
Mm.
Anyway, pretty much
Almost anyone. Yeah.
everyone
Hmm. Yeah.
with their own language.
They don't
That's
have to
so,
learn the
yeah,
second
they don't
language.
have to
Yeah.
learn.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I always wished I could do that.
Mm.
Then partially my dream came true teaching
Mm.
Japanese
Mm.
because my students speak Japanese. So
Mm.
I mainly, I teach intermediate level and advanced level.
Mm.
So almost 100% of communication with me and students are
Mm.
in Japanese.
In
So
Japanese.
yeah.
Mhm. So you teach Japanese in Japanese
hmm
because
Yeah,
their
that's
level is
the
good enough to understand what you're saying, I guess.
well, I don't know, even for the lower level,
Mm-hmm.
for example, I took French and
Mm-hmm.
Chinese
Mm-hmm.
at the university in America. And so French, I think it was second year French, and
Mm-hmm.
I took first year and second year Chinese courses. And both courses, all the courses are taught in the target language. So
Mm-hmm.
the French was taught in French and Chinese was taught
Mm-hmm.
in Chinese. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, well, for the Chinese and Japanese, when the instructor explains the grammar and stuff, they use a little bit of minimal English.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that,
Mm-hmm.
most of the conversation, the communication are
Mm-hmm.
done in the
Yeah,
target
yeah, yeah.
language.
Actually, I do the same when I teach English,
Yeah.
actually. Even with the beginner students, I try to just
hmm
stick in English.
Yeah,
Yes, because I
exactly.
don't really have to explain every little grammar to them. I more like
True.
do a drill practice, and then I don't really need complicated
hmm
English to do that. So,
Yeah, so I have something to say about this point. So sometimes, we often have Japanese guests
mhm.
for our conversation tables, and they are often surprised how well our students speak
Oh,
Japanese. And,
wow.
they
Mhm.
say, how many years are they studying? And
Ah.
like, no, this is their second year, or
Wow.
this is
So
their
you
third
you
year.
must be so proud, and then
Yeah,
I'm sure
I'm
that your
so
teaching is
proud.
really
hmm
working out very well like that.
hmm
Yeah.
Then they always say, I learned English in middle school and high
Mhm.
school
Mhm.
and a little bit in college, so maybe 6 to 8 years, and
Mhm.
I still cannot speak
Mm.
English well,
Mm.
blah,
Mm.
blah,
Mm.
blah.
Mm. Mm.
Then I compared the English education in Japan
Mm.
and foreign language education in the United States. And in our class, and I think in other foreign language courses as well, the main classroom activities is for the learner to talk
Mm.
with
Mm.
each other in the
Mhm.
target
Mhm.
language,
Mhm.
speak Japanese with
Mhm.
each other.
Mhm.
Then I recall, I think about how I learned English at Japanese school.
Mm.
There was absolutely zero time I spoke English
Mm.
with my
Very true.
classmates.
Very true. True.
So I think that's
Yeah.
the biggest difference.
Oh, yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, it's such a shame.
Mm,
Yes, it's done like this, and then I don't see really any changes. Yeah,
mm,
for such a long
oh,
time. So, having communication in the target language, I think, is the best way to go.
mm.
Okay. Wow. Wow. Like, I don't know. I want to ask you so many questions, and I have to kind of organize my thoughts right now. But when it comes to teaching intermediate or advanced students like that, um, don't you come across some? Oh, you've been doing that for such a long time, so maybe you're used to like predict what kind of
Mm,
questions that your students might have in Japanese, right?
mhm.
So you can mostly answer the questions that they might ask you because
Yeah,
Japanese
most of the
itself is
time.
much more complicated, in my opinion.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, there are so many
Mm. Irreg-
irregularities, exceptions.
Yeah, of course.
But I don't know. Well, the some organization, I forgot which one it was, but they place four languages as the most difficult language
Mhm.
for English native speakers,
Mm.
which
Mm.
are Arabic
Mhm.
and Japanese, Chinese, and Korean.
Mm. Mm.
But this is just because, well, for as for Japanese, this is just because the Japanese language has a very complicated writing systems.
Right.
So the
Mm.
hiragana,
Mm.
katakana, and
Mm.
kanji.
Mm.
So otherwise, it's not that difficult, in my
Okay.
opinion. So
Mm.
that's why for the military
Mm.
standard,
Mhm.
they only have to be able to speak.
Mm.
So
Mm.
in their standard, Japanese is not one of the hardest
Oh,
languages
okay.
because
Okay.
they don't have to learn the writing system.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah.
So you
So
teach at this university. So what are the main reasons for the students to study Japanese?
mm, it's a good question.
Mm.
So of course, many students love manga and anime, and but I think the trend is kind of changing.
Mm.
Like, as a Japanese teacher, I sometimes assume that all my students love anime and manga.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes
Yeah.
students say, Sensei, don't assume that. Not
Not
not all
everybody
of,
does. Yeah.
yeah, not everybody loves anime.
Mm,
So
mm,
anyway,
mm, mm,
nowadays when I ask students what they love, most of the answers are the
mm,
computer game, console
mm,
games. So
mhm.
not quite relevant to
Okay. Okay.
Japan or Japanese
Mm,
culture.
mm,
20 years ago,
mm,
90% of games were produced by Japanese companies.
mhm,
But nowadays, that's not true anymore.
mhm, mhm.
Maybe less than 50%. But well,
Interesting. Yeah.
yeah, still, Japan is a dominating
Yeah.
um, country for the industry,
Mm,
but not as influential as
mhm,
before.
mhm,
But
mhm,
anyway, back to your question.
mhm, mhm,
Um, one of the interesting answers is that they wanted some kind of challenges.
mhm,
At high school, they have choices, right, for the foreign
Mm-hmm.
language.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, all the high school, I believe, has Spanish
Yeah.
course,
Mm-hmm.
then maybe French,
Mm-hmm.
German,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the Asian languages, so either Japanese, Chinese, or Korean.
Mm-hmm.
Then, well, East Asian,
Mm-hmm.
East Asian languages. Then they said, so out of these choices, I chose something that looks most challenging.
Oh, okay.
So
Well,
that's
that's
why
good.
they chose
Mm-hmm.
Japanese.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Wow.
Or they
Wow.
wanted something different.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm. That's very interesting.
Mhm.
Eh.
So I
Uh-huh.
was a kid like that, so
Mm.
I totally
Mm.
sympathize with
Mm.
them because I
Mm.
always like something different,
Mhm.
something
Mm.
unique.
Mm. Mm. Not
Like I
like
didn't like the
Japanese. Yeah.
mainstream.
Right, right, right. You want
I
something different.
hmm
Yeah, I think I would too. That's very cool. Hmm. Kind of like jumping all the
That's
topics, but
fine.
I know that you just came back from Japan. You stayed here for, was it for how long?
About 10 days, 11
Okay.
days.
How long has it been from your last trip here?
It's been 2 years.
Two
Last
years.
time was
Okay.
2023. But
Yeah.
before that,
Mm.
my 2023 trip to Japan was the first time in 6 years.
Okay. Wow.
So before it was 2017.
Mm-hmm.
I usually go back to Japan 2 years or 3 years, once per 2 years or 3 years. So
Mm-hmm.
I was actually planning to go back on 2020. So, after 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
3 years after
Mm-hmm.
2017. But of course, I
Yeah.
had to cancel that
Right.
trip because of the pandemic.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
then
Everything
three
was
plus,
canceled back
yeah,
then. So,
three
mm.
plus 3 years, six
Okay.
years, which
Okay.
was
Okay.
2023.
And I saw some of your posts and then you put
hmm
pictures of Kyushu. So you were
hmm
around here? Some,
Yeah,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was based in Fukuoka
Mm.
because the main reason of my trip was attending a conference.
Okay.
There was a conference for Japanese translators and
Mm.
interpreters. Were
Mm.
you there?
No, I didn't know anything about it. Why didn't you tell
But
me?
well, you were an interpreter. Well, anyway, so
Mm.
there's a organization called JAT. I don't know,
Mm.
Japan Association of
Okay.
Translators.
Mm.
So and they had annual conference.
Mm.
It's called IJET.
Mm.
What does IJET stand for? International Japanese English
That sounds about right.
Translation.
Yes. Probably.
So yeah, they hold a conference um 1 year in Japan, a city in Japan, and next year somewhere in an
Oh,
English speaking country.
okay.
So they
Okay.
alternate. So Japan somewhere else, Japan
Mm.
somewhere else. So
Mm.
this year was in Japan and it
Mm.
was in Fukuoka.
Mm.
So that's
Mm.
why I went there. So I was based in well, that's the reason or
Yeah.
excuse to go to Japan.
Of course. Yes.
Then after the conference,
Mm.
I traveled Kyushu. I
Mm.
actually visited all the prefectures except
Oh,
Nagasaki. Yeah, well,
wow.
visited.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I passed by the
Mm,
saga.
mm, mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Where,
And you were in Beppu, I remember.
yeah, I
Uh,
love Beppu.
yeah.
I I want to live there.
Oh, yeah, because of the onsen, or
Yeah.
mm. It's kind of like
There's a
mm.
famous Japanese language program. It's
Oh,
by APU, the
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Asia
Mm-hmm.
Asia
Asian
Pacific
Pacific
University. Yeah.
University. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
One of my colleagues who is the Thai language teacher,
Mm.
she taught there. So
Mm.
I sent an email to her,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
asking about her recommendation
Okay,
in
okay.
Beppu.
What did you like in Beppu?
In Beppu, yeah, of course, onsen. Yeah,
Mm.
I only stayed one day. It was a day trip from Fukuoka, so of course it's not enough. So
Mm-hmm.
I should definitely come back to stay longer.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for the first time in my life, I had fugu. フグを食べ
Your
まし
first
た。
time. へえ、そうなんだ。別府で
Yeah, 別府で。Because,
あるね。
yeah, somebody, so I told this story to my friend in Fukuoka, because Fukuoka is close to Shimonoseki, so maybe this is a good opportunity for me to eat fugu for the first time. Then he said, well, actually, if you're going to Beppu, Osaka is also famous for fugu, so, and that was true according to the restaurant owner and waitress. So that's how and why I had fugu in Beppu. Yeah, it was
You
it
liked
was
it.
oh yeah, experience.
It's an experience, of course.
Yeah, it's
Now
once
you've done
one
it.
once in a lifetime. It's okay. Well, because it's so expensive.
I
I
know
don't know
it's
if
expensive. And did you have like a fugusashi or
yeah, it's like a
fugusashi?
course, so
Yeah,
it
fugusashi is
has.
like so bland and not
Oh
much taste to
yeah,
it, でしょ? So
that's
yeah, I feel
true.
the same way. Why do I have to pay for this? Such a lot of money for just like bland. I would much prefer like a tuna or salmon or
Yeah,
more
salmon.
flavorful.
Salmon is
Yeah.
exactly. So, but yeah, I try to support the local business.
Oh, that's
Yeah, it
nice.
was
That's
it was
nice.
expensive. But 唐揚げ、フグの唐
フグの唐
揚げ、
揚げ美味しいかな。
美味しかった。
You were also in 高千穂じゃない？
高千穂
うんうん
峡。
うん。
So again, there's a funny story behind it. For a long time, I misunderstood where Takachiho was.
Where did
'Cause-
you think it was?
well, there's another place called Takachiho near Kagoshima,
そうあ
like
るね。
yeah,
高千穂牧
border
場
of
とかがあるところ。
yeah. So that's why I thought that area was that famous
Yeah.
Takachiho
It's very
where
confusing.
yeah, Japan started and where all the
Yeah, yeah.
Japanese gods.
You thought it was much in the south.
So then last year or 2 years ago, one of my students said he was going to Takachihokyo. Then I thought, yeah, why are you going there? There's nothing. Is it famous? Is that place that famous?
Okay.
Then that's when I realized we are talking about different Takachiho.
Yeah.
So it's much northern area of
Near Kumamoto ね。
yeah.
But your first time there this time
It
to
was my
visit.
first time.
Did you get on a boat?
No.
Okay. I've never been on a boat either.
Yeah, that was my mistake
Okay.
in planning. I didn't know that I was supposed to make a reservation.
Yeah, it's very, very popular now. So you really need to make a reservation in advance.
Yeah,
But
I was so afraid that my boyfriend, I travel with my boyfriend, my boyfriend would be mad
because you didn't
about,
make one.
yeah, for my poor planning.
Yeah.
But in the end, when he saw the boat, like tekogi boat, he said, oh, okay, I'm fine with that.
Okay,
I
good,
don't
good,
like
good.
it.
Okay. So you were happy to hear that. Yeah, it's
And
just a small part of
yeah, it's so
origin.
crowded
Yeah.
too.
You're just
And
bumping into each other.
I know
On the boat.
they
Yeah.
don't know how to,
そう。
operate.
ゴツゴツなんか音しかしないあそこは本当に。Yeah,
So,
but it's like you said, it's an experience for some people. They
the
just
the
wanna get on the
waterfall
boat.
was beautiful.
Yeah,
It's
it's
kind of
just
mysterious
yeah,
atmosphere.
mesmerizing. So you went to the gorge. Did you go to any of the shrines around there?
I wanted to, but again, it was a day trip.
Oh, it was a
And
day trip from Fukuoka?
yeah,
No way,
again,
that's too busy then.
yeah, I took
Eh,
a Kosoku bus. That's
eh.
how I went
So
through
you
Kumamoto and Saga.
五ヶ瀬号とかじゃない？五ヶ瀬
Yeah,
号とか。
Gokasego.
That's the bus I always take to go to Fukuoka.
To
It takes
Fukuoka.
forever. It's like curvy road and then yeah. それ
Yeah,
は
okay, we share the same bus.
Yeah, bus.
Bus
Probably
line.
the same seat.
Same
Who
seat.
knows, right? But it took you like maybe 4 hours or something, right? Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
え I should have helped you with the planning. Day trip to 高橋はちょっときついかも。うん。
And also, I thought I needed a car, rental
Yeah, car is
car.
the best way to get around. I
うん、
guess maybe next time you could, yeah, get to Kumamoto Airport and
う
then rent a
ん、
car and then drive
OK。
around Takachiho and then probably
うん、
Miyazaki as well. So
う
you
ん。
learn the lesson.
Yeah,
えー、
it was a good exercise though. We walked a
uh-huh,
lot
uh-huh.
and there's hills, like
Yeah,
the
very
gorge area
hilly
is so
over there.
low
Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm.
and the bus station and the
うん。
city is
う
like
ん。
up
そうそ
there.
う。そうね。そっか。Okay. Sounds good. And then I also saw your post about what you purchased in Japan for
Oh
this
yeah.
trip. Yes. お土産
That's
というか。
the
Yes. Mhm.
main activity, right?
Okay. Shopping in Japan.
Shopping.
Mhm. What are the things that you got? Like
Mostly food.
food
Yeah.
like, food like. Mhm.
I like going to local supermarkets
うんうんうん
because sometimes you find
うん。
something you don't see
うん。
in the United
う
States or
ん。
even in Tokyo.
うん。
Well, this time, because I grew up in Kagoshima, I saw lots of 懐かしい items at supermarket
どん
and
なの？
convenience store. Like, do you know the Manhattan
あ、わかる
bread?
わかる。ドーナツみたいな、硬いやつね。Yeah. That's only in 九州 maybe? 九
なん
州だけなの
か、
かな、あれ。
久しぶりに見たと思いま
う
した。
ん。あれ、美味しいよね。
うん。
うん。
それか
Been
ら、
there for a long time.
両油パン
両油パン。
両油パ
うん。
ン。
うん。
あとなんだっけあ、そうだ、モンブランだ、モンブラン。
モンブランね。うん
アイス
うん
クリーム。
うん。はいはいはいはい
なん
はいはい。
かすごい、ああ、懐かしい子供の頃、よく食べ
Takes
て
you
た。
back. Yes. 鹿児島、私、一昨日までいたんですよ。
う
For my
ん、
job, and then I just came back and I
う
couldn't
ん。
enjoy any of the local speciality. でも I did eat カルカン。
Oh, yeah, yeah,
カル
my
カンは
favorite
食べた。
カルカン。
うん。
With uncle or without
そうそうそう。
uncle?
Is there カルカン without ango?
Yeah, I like the one without
Really?
uncle.
It doesn't sound very good.
No, it is because I like that Karukan part. I don't like the uncle part. I'm not
そ
a
うな
big
の？
fan of uncle, so
It's like カルカン is like just sponge to me.
how dare you?
あんこなかったらただのなんかスポンジ食べてるみたいな感じだけど違うんですね。
もうあれだけ食べた。あれだけずっと食べていたいで
そんなのが存
すね。
在するのも知らなかった。
違う、あれは多分、リカさんみたいに、
うん。
こんなのこれだけで食べられるかよって思う人がいっぱいいたから、あんこを入れるようになったんですよ。でも、カルカンというものはもともとあの
もと
物
もとあん
質
こないの。
のこと。はい。
の
あの物質がカルカン
物質
なんです。
がカルカンなの。It's pretty boring to me. How dare me, right? Sorry.
with どの会社のカルカンでしたか？ It matters, it matters. My
え
favorite is from Acacia.
どこなったんだろう。I don't know because it was already on the plate. I didn't
う
really open it
ん、
up or anything. So,
うん、
yeah. とかカスタ丼も美味しいですよね。うん。
うん。
カスタ丼知らないですか？蒸気屋のカ
はい、蒸気屋
スタ丼。
さんですね。
もう美味しい
はい。
ですけど。そう。But, that's about it. I didn't really get to eat anything else. So, そう。
うん
へえ。
でも、ちょっとマイクのトラブルがあったんです
あ、
けど、
そうなんだね。
大丈夫
あ、はい。
ですか？
あ、大丈夫
はい、
です。はい、
大丈夫。はい。ち
聞こえてます。
ょっと多分、ケーブルに触っちゃったかな。
あ、全然。
そう、蒸気屋は、
うん。
私が多分中学生ぐらいの時に、できたのか、有
う
名になった
ん。
のか、ちょっと忘れましたけど、
うん。うん。うん。
もうすごく、なんかこう、クラスの中で、学校ですごい流行ってましたね。中学が近かったので、
ああ、
なんか
そうな
こう、
んだ。
走られたり、
走、
走りをさせられ
走、
たりとか、先
走る
輩に。
人だった。
いや、僕はさしてないんだけど、なんか
あ、OK。
させ
あ、
られてる人が
がいたと。
いまし
うん、OK。
たね。はい そう、多分カスタードが出たのかな、それですご
カ
く
スタード、
有名になって、人気に
そ
なっ
うね。
て、
焼きドーナツとかも今売ってました
そう。
ね。
それ福岡で食べました。すごく行列
お、
ができてたから。
そうなんだ。人気ですよね。へ
うん。
え。And among the things that you bought in Japan, I found my book there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Here, I have it with me. 落書き英語フレーズ。
落書き英語フレー
Yeah,
ズをその中
it's
に入れ
a,
ていただいて、本当
mhm.
にありがとうございます。
Yeah, it's a podcast.残念ですが、皆さん見え
見え、
ないから。
見えないけど、今ね、すごく持っていただいてます。お荷物が多い中、ね、持って
いえいえ、
帰っていただき、
もうちょっといけるかなって思いました。
もうちょっといけるかなって荷物。
そうそうそう。なんか、
yeah.
I allocated the last day, the entire day for shopping,
Okay.
but it wasn't enough.
You need like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, and also towards the end of the day, like afternoon, I was already tired,
う
like
ん。
physically
うん。
tired, and also tired of shopping and spending money. So
そうね。
it wasn't a good idea. Well, it was a good idea
うん。
because I did
う
do
ん。
lots of shopping,
Okay.
but it wasn't a good idea because it's too exhausting.
Shopping can be exhausting.
Yeah.
Yes. うん。
So at the end of the day, I thought, oh, maybe this is enough. Well, this
うん、
is too
そうね。
heavy.
But,
I, yeah,
な
I'm
んか
sorry.
買っ
Go
とけば
ahead.
よかったものありますまだ。
白い恋人ですね。
白い恋人なんだ。
福岡空港でもっと買い物すればよかった。
ああ、そうか。そうね。
そうだ福岡空港ではしたや。羽田でもっと
羽田。
買い物すればよかったかな。
そうね。There is always something more you want,
うん
I'm
うん
sure. So,
うん So I
wow.
usually go to Japan with one suitcase
うん。
and I have the extra
うん。
plastic bag. IKEA, do you know the IKEA plastic bag? It's kind of
Oh, yeah,
huge
yeah, I
and
do, I do.
sturdy.
I do.
So I bring it with me
Oh,
and
okay.
that will be a second luggage.
That's a very good idea.
うんうん
IKEA の結構
そう、
入るし、丈夫だし。
そうそう。あの分だけ増えた荷物ということですね。
So usually travel light?
うーん、not really.
Sounded pretty light, but maybe the suitcase, you had a lot of stuff in there.
うー
うん。
ん。
え
Well, it's a summertime,
う
so
ん。
it's better than
そう
winter
ね、ウィンタータイム
time.
だね。かさばらないかもしれないですね。
Mm.
And did you tell me that you're going on another trip sometime soon?
Yeah, next week I'm again with my boyfriend. We're going to Italy.
めっ
Yay,
ちゃ羨ましい。
for the first
For
time.
the first time.
Yes,
Where
yes.
in Italy?
Pretty much everywhere except Milan. So we're going to Rome,
うん。
then Malta, which
う
is not Italy,
ん。
it's
う
an
ん。
independent
うん。う
country.
ん。うん。うん。
Malta と、
うん。
then Venice,
うん。
then Florence,
めっちゃ
and
いい。
back to Rome.
How long is it for?
So again, it's a little over 10 days, 11, 12 days,
ん。
a little shorter than 2 weeks.
今、you don't have classes during.
No, I don't.
う
So
ん。
this is summer vacation.
うん。
I'm going to teach the summer semester
ああ、そういう
starting
こと。
at the end of the last week of June,
うん。
but I have entire May and June
い
off.
いな。So that's usually the time when you go on vacation
Mhm.
like that.
Yeah, the
And
May
your
is the best
boyfriend
season
is
to
off as
visit
well.
Japan.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What did you say?
May is the best time for going to Japan.
そうか。
Mm.
Yeah, and your boyfriend is off for that period,
Um,
yeah? Mm-hmm.
he so every year at the end of year,
うん。
he plans the vacation
ああ、
plans
そうい
of
う
the
こと
coming
か。
year. So we
いい
discuss,
な。
when to
う
travel.
ん。
Because my vacation is fixed May
Okay.
and
うん。
June, so he
うん。
kind
う
of
ん。
adjusts
う
his
ん。
vacation so that we
Mhm.
can travel together.
めっちゃ羨ましいな。うーん。なん
So
だろ
we
う、ボ
have
ーイ
to
フレン
plan
ド。
ahead
そうだよね。うんうん。ボーイフレン
in
ドについてもなんか
December.
すごい気になるな。
Yeah, anything. 何でも
How
聞い
long
て
you
く
been
ださい。
together?
It's been 8 years. It's going to be
8
nine
years.
soon.
Wow,
So
wow.
2016.
う
Yeah,
ん。
so it's a full eight years and
すご
counting.
い。And counting, of course. How did you meet?
Well, it's a funny story. We met at the restaurant.
うん。うんう
So
ん。
I I was in
Okay.
Pennsylvania. I was on the way to come home from a conference in Canada,
うん。
Niagara Falls,
う
which
ん
is the
うん
name of the city as
うんう
well,
んうんうん
not just the fall.
うんうん
The
うん
city itself called
うん。
Niagara
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Falls.
It's a lovely
Then,
city. Yes. うん
yeah, I drove there.
Okay.
So when I come back, I usually, the usual route should be driving in Canada
う
and
ん
cross the border at
うん
Detroit.
うんうん
That's
う
the
ん
shortest
う
way.
んう
But
ん
I always take that route,
うんう
so
ん
I decided to go the other side of the
Oh,
lake. So
okay.
so cross the border at Niagara Falls
う
to
ん
Buffalo, New
う
York,
んうんうん
then drove alongside the Lake Erie. Then on the way, I visited Pittsburgh. Well, it's not really on the way, but I wanted to go to
う
Pittsburgh.
ん
Then there's a famous restaurant there.
うん
Then I hate waiting
うん
in a line,
うん
but since it's a famous
う
restaurant,
ん
and I thought maybe this is the only time for
う
me to
んうん
visit this city, which turned out not true later. I visited there often. But anyway, at that
うん
moment, I
Yeah, of
thought
course.
this is
うん
going to be the last
う
chance.
んう
So
ん
I waited in the line for, I don't know, more than 1 hour.
Okay.
And he was the person who was waiting behind me,
嘘
next to me. Yeah.
何それ
And so we started chatting,
And he
and
was alone as
he
well?
was alone too.
何そ
Mhm.
れす
And
ごい。
he speaks Japanese.
へえ。
He's originally from Venezuela,
うん。
and now he's American,
う
but
ん。
he speaks Japanese,
うん。う
and
ん
he's one of those people, when he wants to practice
う
his
ん。
Japanese
あ、
with
okay,
Japanese.
okay. うん
So
あ、いや
whenever
いや。
he sees a Japanese
うん。
person,
うん。
he talks to
Okay.
them.
う
So
ん。
so that's what he did. I'm obviously a Japanese looking Japanese person. So he talked to me in
う
Japanese,
ん。
like,
うん。
日本人ですか?
え
And
え。
we spoke in
う
Japanese while
ん。
we were waiting.
うん。
And that's how it started.
すごい。だって、You didn't really plan anything. You just thought about this going to
Hmm.
Pittsburgh and then dropping
Yeah.
by this well-known restaurant and not really
Hmm.
thinking ahead, and it's just happened like that.
Hmm.
映画みた
I
い。う
I
ん
like that kind of, I don't know what it's called, serendipity.
Serendipity. That's my favorite word in Japan, in English. Yeah, serendipity. Such a beautiful
Mm.
encounter.
Yeah, but I hear lots of stories, similar stories from
うん
my friends. Like,
Yeah.
one straight couple, but a Japanese
うん
woman, my
うん
Japanese female friend,
うん
she met her husband on a train station in
Okay.
Japan.
Okay.
Well, he her husband is American person. He was a international student, or I don't know, he was traveling, but he looks troubled,
う
so
ん
she tried to help
うんう
him,
ん
and that's how they met.
ああ、結構あるんですね。そういう話ってね。Yes.
Yeah, like
う
my
ん
parents, they met in a language school.
そうね、そうね。Yes, like relationship
Hmm.
starts, yeah, with just a coincidence or,
Hmm.
yeah,
Exactly.
す
Yeah.
ごいな。And 8 years together
Eight
and going on
years.
traveling together like that. I'm so
Hmm.
happy.
Yeah, I'm glad that we have lots in common.
うん、
For example, we went to a Murakami Takashi's exhibition
Okay.
in Cleveland here in the
Uh,
United States.
yeah.
And he likes going to museums
Mm,
and movie theaters and
mm. I hear that too.
musicals
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and um, stuff like that.
Mm,
Then then I realized, in this world, there are some people who never go to museums,
mm,
never go to movie
mm-hmm,
theaters,
mm-hmm.
like one of my colleagues.
Mm.
So, and I'm so glad that he's not that kind of person.
Mm,
He loves movie
yeah.
theater, he loves theaters, museums,
Eh,
cultural, artsy things.
いいね。I'm just curious. Do you talk to each other in Japanese or English
In
now?
Japanese,
あ、日本語な
almost
ん
like,
だ。え
はい、
ー、
98%ぐらい日本
あ、
語で
そうなんだ。
すね。
もうhis Japanese is fluent now.
Yeah,
う
he
ん。
passed the JLPT N1, which
す
is the
ご
highest level last year, but
い。
barely. I saw the score. He barely
Yeah,
passed it.
barely passed. But still, that's wonderful. 日本語なんですね。So, and then you told me that you teach, the students in
Mhm,
Japanese as well. So when do you
mhm.
get to use your English?
I know. And that's one of the thing I wanted to talk in
Okay.
your podcast
うんうんうん。
episode.
うん。
Yeah, my English is getting worse and worse because I don't use it
そうね。
anymore.
そう、今話聞い
So,
てるとあんま使うとこないよねって思っ
so
て。
I speak with my colleagues
う
in
ん。
Japanese
うん
because
うん。
most of my colleagues are from
ああ、
Japan
そっかそっ
and
か。
also even American
うん
professors
うんうん。
because their specialty is
うん
Japanese literature and
うん
Japanese
うん
something
う
history,
んうん。
political science. So they speak Japanese. So some prefer speaking Japanese,
う
some
ん
prefer speaking English.
う
So
ん。
it's a mix. So
Yeah.
but mainly I speak Japanese with my colleagues.
う
Then
ん
I speak Japanese with my students,
うん。
and at least they try,
うん
even for the first year,
う
second
ん
year Japanese student, they try to speak in Japanese,
うん
which is amazing.
う
Yeah,
ん
great job, students. Then I speak Japanese with my boyfriend in my personal life. So I only speak English with the administrative staff at the
そうね。
department and the university and people at supermarkets, on the streets, restaurants. I
う
play
ん
tennis, so
Okay.
I speak English with my
うん
tennis
うん
teammates
う
and tennis
んうん
friends. So
That's
yeah,
about it.
that's about it. I need to speak English more.
面白い。
Yeah,
ん
I would say, yeah, I guess my listening ability is the best right now
う
because I
ん
watch lots of movies
うん
and TV drama after
う
I
ん
met my boyfriend.
うん
But speaking ability, my best was when I was a graduate
うん。
school
そっか。
because I
面
don't
白いね。
speak anymore.
あ
I
の、
can hold a
Yeah, of
conversation
course,
like
yeah.
this, like
Uh-huh.
I almost 60 minutes podcast episode, but I really hope to
うん。
explain or elaborate
うん。
something
うん。うん。
complicated,
うん。う
some
ん。うん。
physics or
うん。
metaphysics or
アカデミック。
philosophical
アカデミックな。
concepts in English, which I can do in Japanese, or maybe
そ
I
うね。
cannot do in Japanese either.
でも、インタープレテーション and translation も教えてるっていう、
はい、そうです
この辺は、でも、
ね。まあ、
え英語から
日英ですね。
日本語。
英語、日本。
なんか、
both ways, both
both ways, yeah.
directions.
うんうんうん。へえ。
まあでも、日
うん。
本語のカリキュラムの
うん。
一部なの
う
で、まあ
ん。う
翻訳、
ん。
通訳としてはもう、ベーシックのベー
うん。
シックって
う
感じですね。
ん。
はい。
面白い。You've always liked language itself since you
I
were little, or?
guess
うん。
so.
言葉に
In
興味があったというか。
In high school, my best subjects was classical Japanese
あ、
and
じゃあね。
modern Japanese, contemporary Japanese, 現代文
Mm.
and English.
Eh,
So I guess teaching Japanese in a English-speaking country was the best choice.
yeah, but that choice you made, right? Because you wanted to do that.
Mhm.
Eh,
Yeah, but I don't know. I I loved classical Japanese. I was always the best student in classical Japanese.
すごいな。
And but I don't know if I liked English. It was true that my English grade was really good,
うん。
but I wasn't interested in American culture,
う
or
ん。
I wasn't interested in English, British culture either. Maybe I'm just good at language.
Well, that's even better. Yeah, I think. Eh,
Well, I loved American music,
うん。
yeah, and American movies.
うん。
But again, I don't know. I started listening to American music and I started watching American movies
う
just
ん。
because I wanted to improve my English
うん。うん。うん。
skills.
うん。うん。
Then now I'm a big fan.
うん。What sort of music you're into?
Back then, hard rock and heavy metals are so
え
popular.
そっ
Everybody
か。
listened to it.
うん。
So
うん。うん。
I listened to hard rock and heavy metal like Guns N' Roses,
うん。う
Metallica,
ん。うん。うん。
Megadeth.
え
Yeah, nobody
Lately?
listened to.
Lately?
Lately, I like alternative rock
う
and
ん。
pop music as
え
well.
そっか。
Yeah, since I teach young kids,
うん。
I want to keep myself updated
う
with pop
ん。うん。
culture.
うん。う
So
ん。うん。
I listen to music that young people
う
listen
ん。
to,
うん。That's a
like
good idea.
Dua Lipa,
うん。うん。
Billie Eilish.
あ、はいはいはい。そうなんだ。Do you just keep on living in the States, not coming back to Japan?
For now,
う
I don't
ん。
plan to go
う
back to
ん。う
Japan,
ん。
but I don't know how. I'm a second child,
うん。
so I don't have responsibility to take care of my
Okay.
family,
う
parents.
ん。
So
うん。
my older brother
う
and
ん。
his wife
うん。
will be taking care of my parents. And
Okay.
she is a very responsible person, so I trust her. I don't trust my brother, but I trust her.
You do not? うん。
So,
Okay.
well, I think that's the biggest one of the
うん。
reason
うん。
I'm a little distant from
う
my
ん。
family. My family was always distant to each
うん。
other. Like we lived separately
う
for a long
ん。
time, and all of us were kind of
うん。
independent.
うん。うん。
So
うん。うん。
that's why our connections
うん。
are looser than average Japanese
Okay.
family.
Okay. うん。うん。うん。うん。
So, because lots of Japanese people who live here feel some kind of responsibility
う
for their
ん。う
family and
ん。う
parents,
ん。うん。
but I kind of lack that part.
There are all sorts of families like that. So, yeah, it's understandable. But now you're happy living in the States and then
Mm-hmm.
just with the love, the
Yeah.
job that you love, and then with the person you
Mm-hmm.
love. And いいな、なんか。
Well, but I don't have kids. I wanted
Mhm.
kids, but it's a little too late. Well, maybe it's not too late,
Mm,
but it's
mm,
not plausible
mm,
because
mhm.
I love kids and I really want to raise a child, but I know I can't. I'm not qualified.
Not qualified. Eh,
And my boyfriend, he doesn't like kids.
okay. It doesn't work out. Yes.
So
Eh,
yeah, that's kind of sad because I see lots of gay couples
mm,
raising a child,
mm,
but yeah, financially it's difficult because
mm.
education costs a
Mm,
lot
確かに。
in America. Of course in Japan too,
Mm.
but more so
More
in the
so
United
over
States.
there, I think. Yeah. Mm. Wow. Mm. I'm so glad that I got to know you more.
うん。
Yeah,
Oh, thank you.
because we only kind of chatted on space once.
うん。
I don't remember when. And then we actually very much enjoy. I think we talked about teaching or
うん。
languages back then, if I
う
remember
ん。
right. And mm, I was waiting for this opportunity to talk to you more. So,
うん。
and it
Yeah,
happened
thank you
like,
for this
yeah,
opportunity.
it happened like 2 years or 3 years later.
No, thank you for
Oh,
remembering me and
of course, of
having
course,
this
of
opportunity.
course. Yeah, なんだろう、すごい話しやすい、もっち、
あ、ありが
も
とうございま
っち。
す。でもね、
うんうん。
I should warn you.
何？
ちょっと昔に、
うん。
私、いろんなポッドキャストに
うん
ゲスト出演することがあって、
うんう
ちょっと
ん
何年か忘れたんですけ
う
ど、
んうん
毎月一つ、だから1年で12回ぐらい、
うん。
なんか目標にいろん
おお、
なポッドキャストにゲス
出て
ト
るんですね。
出演し
うん
て、
うん
でも、私がゲスト出演したポッドキャストは、結構高確率で終わってしまったんで
やめて、
す。
そういうの。やめて。やめてよ、ほんと。めっ
し
ちゃ嫌な。
かも、そのうち2つか3つは、私が出たエピソードを最後に終わって
嘘。
しまった。
何それ、やだ。ちょっと待って。これやめようかな。
大丈夫、大丈夫。全部じゃないから、まだ全然続い
全部じゃ
てるポッド
ないからって、
キャストも。
でも、高確率って言われてるじゃないですか。ちょっ
でも、
と怖
ほら、
くなって。
ポッドキャストって、
うん。
よく言われてるけど、終わるポッドキャストの方が多いんですよ。なんか別に何もしな
まあね、
くても、
そうでしょうね。う
なん
ん。
か大好
そうね。
きだったポッドキャストも、
いつの間にか終わってたりとかし
も
ますよね。
う猫の目ポリスっていうのが大
なんて？
好きだった。猫、猫の目ポリス。
猫の目ポリス、どんなポッドキ
は
ャスト？
い。なんかね、日常の気になることを取り上げてすごく妄想を膨らませるポッドキャストなんで
もう終わってるん
すけど。
ですか？
いきなり終わっちゃったんですよ。多
まだで
分。
も聞けるわけですね、過去のやつ。
はいはいはい。
聞いて
過去、
みよ
シーズン4まで行って、
う。
なんかいきなり終わって、ちょっと仲違いしたのかな、お二人が。
ああ、二人で話してたって感じなの。
はい。ちょっとそんな感じでした。一人は続けたかったけど、もう一人の都
ああ、
合で辞める
残
ことになり
念ね。う
ました、みたい
ん、
な。
うん。へえ。Any podcast recommendations?
うー
Because I
ん、
don't know, like, how do people find the podcast that they like? 私あんまりなんか、ポッドキャスト見つけ
うー
るの下手くそなのか、
ん。
あんまりなんか見つけられないんですよね。
日本語の英語の
どっちでも。
どっちでも。うーん。I don't know how to answer how I
う
find
ん、うん、
my favorite
うん、
podcast,
うん。
but for the English podcast, I like stuff you should know.
ああ、前聞いて
Um,
た、そういえば。そう、面
mhm.
白いよね。Stuff you should know.
Yeah,
いろんなものを。
いろんなトピックをね、
あ、忘
私ちょっと
れてた。
雑学王になり
そう、
たいので。
もう慣れるんじゃないんですか？
So stuff you should know
うん、
covers a wide variety of genres
う
and
ん、うん、う
topics,
ん、うん。面白い。うん、
and sometimes something you never thought of
うん。
existing.
うん、うん、うん、うん。うん、そうそうそう。
それ
Yeah,
が
I
面
used to
白い。
listen to that. I don't know where it went. I had
う
completely
ん。
forgotten about that. It's still going on. 今もあ、
Yeah.
本当？
うん。
OK。
And another podcast is Pop Culture Happy Hour.
う
It
ん、
also covers all kinds of entertainment, mostly movies and TV shows, but
うん、
sometimes music,
う
theaters,
ん、
books.
うん。
So it introduces a new pop
う
culture
ん。
phenomenon.
あ、そうなんだ。Pop culture happy hour. うん。
Mhm.
Sounds good. うん。
Yeah, the way one of the MCs speak English is my ideal. So I want to speak like him.
うー
So
ん。
maybe I should shadowing
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's a very
shadowing
good. If
the
you have someone that speaks like you want to be like
う
them.
ん
でも、もっちさんはしないんですか？ポッドキャスト。
podcast、うん、
うん。
ちょっと考えていた時期
絶対した
もあるん
方がい
です
いと思
が、
う。うん。
そうね、なんか
うん。
多分英語で
うん
やった方が、
うん
オーディエンスとか
うんうん
マーケットとか大
うん
きいと思うんです
うん
けど、
うん
なんかこう、英語でやる自信があんまりないというか、
嘘。
もう
絶対大丈夫。
まあでも、なんかちょっと今日英語で話してて、あれ、なんか結構いけるかもなって
いけるいけるいけるいける。
英
なん
語でポッドキャ
かすっ
ストできる
ごい、
かもって思っ
全
ちゃい
然でき
ました。
るし、なんだろう、聞きたいです。
本当、
声
でも
も素敵だし。
ありがとうございま
う
す。なん
ん。
か子供の頃はあんま言われなかったけど、なんかね、声変わり、大人になってから声変わりしてから言われるようになりま
でし
した。
ょでしょすごい聞きやすい。耳心地がいいですよ。うん。
う
So you should
ん。
definitely do that. そんなゲストに呼ばれていて、ね、終わらせるようなことするよりも自分でポッドキャストした方がさ。
ちょっと考えてたんですよね。でもなんかこう、なん
うん。
か考えてたし、実
うん。
際やり始めようと思っ
うんうん
て、
うんうん。
オープニングのこのサウンドバイト、オープ
うん
ニングまで作っ
それもう作っ
た。
てんだ。じゃあもうやるしかないでしょ。
でも、でもね、しかもオープニングの音楽ね、購入したんですよ、ちゃんと。
すごいちゃんと有料のも
そう、
のを使
そう有
って。
料の音源
じゃあ
を購入し
もう、
て。
there is no reason to stop you. But what
そう、
about,
あと、
hmm?
旅の話。I
うん。
went to 屋久島 as well.
Oh, okay.
うん。
Okay. うん。
It was so beautiful. Have you
う
been
ん。
there before?
No,
No?
no.
You should, you should.
I know I should.
Um, it was so beautiful.
うん。
Like, I noticed that not so many people spoke Kagoshima dialect,
うん。
and that's because I realized that many people living there are from somewhere else.
あ、そう。
They, after they visit Yakushima,
う
they
ん。
love
They
this
just fell in
so
love with
much,
it.
so
Yes.
they,
うん。
yeah, they stay there.
そうな
うん。
んだ。Oh, you hiked along the way then, huh?
うん。
うーん。
なんだっけ。雲水峡。なんとか。
I don't even know. へえ。
もののけ姫の
あ、
舞台と
はいはい。
なった
そうね。もう
森で
本
すね。
当に mystical,
う
magical
ん。
place,
い
I
や、
guess. うん。へえ。いい旅で。じゃあ今度はイタリアで
う
また
ん。
いい思い出を作るの。
はい。
いいなぁ。楽しんできてください。
はい。
なんか originally we were saying that we're going to talk for half an hour and then it's been an hour because it's very fun
Well,
talking to you.
you can edit it and make it shorter.
No, I'm not gonna. I don't usually edit the podcast and I just okay, but it's
So
been so
earlier
much fun though.
I said I joined as a guest speaker in many podcast episodes, and
Mm.
again in some podcasts, my episode is the longest
No,
episode of all.
because we enjoy talking to each other. I think that's a good sign, right? So
Mhm.
I don't mind. And yeah, 1 hour is, yeah,
Mhm.
it's actually good for the listeners, I'm sure. So
Okay. I hope
I
your
would,
listeners don't mind either. This episode is too long.
no, no, no. Usually the thing is because it's なんか睡眠誘発だから、いつも
うん
皆さん聞き始めてすぐ寝ちゃってまた聞いてるっていうので、聞いてる人が多いんだと、再生数が多いと思うんですので、so people just repeat because they fall asleep so much っていうのはすごく聞くことなんで、まあ、これも何日かに分けて聞いていただければ嬉しいかなと思うし、
そうで
もうん、
すね。
また絶対話したいです。
ぜひぜひ、
もっ
また
といろいろ
読んでく
なんか、
ださい。1年後、2年後、3年後。
いやいや、もっと早く。もっと早くにできれば、Yes, would love to dig
う
in
ん。
deeper. なんかもっともっと
うん。
このティーチングのこととかもお話ししたいなと思って
そう
ました、まず。
ですね。
うんうん。
はい。まあ
はい。
私ももしポッドキャスト始めたら、こう、他業種の人とインタ
うん。
ビューするみ
うん。
たいなも
うん。
のを考えている
面白いで
ので、
すよね。う
ぜひ
ん。
お呼
うん。
びしたいと思い
あ、
ます。
よろしくお願いします、その時は。はい、ありがとうございました。もっちさんでした。
はい、Thank you.
もっ
Yeah,
ち
もちり、
リンダさんでした。
Linda. Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for being here. It was so much fun. So please have a great trip
Thank you.
to Italy.
Thank
Say
you.
hello to your boyfriend.
Hmm.
Hi.
I will. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you
Bye.
then. Bye.